Do you want to shoot twice in one activation, despite the fact that the Kasrkin have no ploys that explicitly state that? Not a single strategic ploy, a firefight ploy, no piece of equipment, no faction rules that allow them to shoot twice in one activation? Well, I'm going to show you how to do that in a kind of sneaky way. Let me show you the Ghost Recon protocol. Welcome back to A Bit Tactical, and today we're going to go over what I call the Ghost Recon protocol. For those of you who don't know the reference or haven't played the games, basically you mark two targets, you shoot one, your friend shoots another at the exact same time. But now we're going to bring that over to Killteam a little bit. Let's just go right into it and start with the basic essentials of what you're going to need. Number one, you're going to need to charge block somebody. So what charge blocking is it when you have no intention of fighting, right? Because charging somebody in Killteam is not the same as fighting them. You charge somebody and that's it. You don't do anything else. You don't fight them if you have the APL points, but most of the time you do it at the end of your activation just to make sure that one of your opponent's models is locked up. That's one. Number two is your commsman giving out that third APL. A lot of strategies are based around this because having that third APL as a 2 APL team is really, really nice and powerful. And number three, it's using the cover retreat firefight ploy. Cover retreat is a very interesting ploy. Essentially, you will activate your model who is in a fight situation, right? Whether you've been charged or you charge block somebody. They will complete a fallback action, right? Then another Kasrkin friendly model will then perform a free shoot action so long as they're within 6 inches of the model that you're using the fallback action with. Now, as the rules state, it's just a free shoot action. You could shoot the person that your Kasrkin friendly model is falling back from, or you could shoot anybody else that's a valid target, but you just get to perform a free shoot action with that model. Now, that's all the things you need to know for this to work. So what exactly are you doing that's so sneaky and kind of cool and a little bit of a gamble? I'm going to admit that right now. This is a gamble. This is a risk. There's a way to mitigate how much of a gamble it is, but it's a gamble nonetheless. Now, what you're going to do is in turning point 1, you are going to try to charge block somebody. The way we're going to do this to make it easier for this to actually happen is that number 1, during the strategic gamble phase of the first turning point, you are going to use the reposition action. This is the new dash, right? So you essentially get to move up 3 inches from your spawn zone with a single model. This is really nice in general, but for this, it's a little bit essential. Not that essential, but a little bit essential. So you move up a model 3 inches. Then you're going to wait until your opponent moves up, however that looks, right? You want them to make it either to the halfway point of the board or just a little bit over, right? For your faction ability for the first turning point, you're going to use Strike Fast, which gives 1 extra inch to your movement range. The reason you need this is because this now gives you a 9-inch charge range. Again, for those who don't know, charge gives you an extra circle to move. Sorry, an extra 2 inches to move. I'm still stuck in the last Killteam edition. It gives you an extra 2 inches, which gives you a 9-inch charge range. So, using reposition, technically, you have a 12-inch charge range. Pretty far up the board, in a pretty dangerous range, which you're gonna need in order to pull this off. With all that being said, find somebody within that range, within the first turning point, and charge block them. You might have an opponent that's a little cagey and they don't do this in the first turning point. They don't find anyone at the mid board during the first turning point. If that's the case, try to do this in the second turning point. But I'm gonna be honest with you, it's even harder to do at that point. The surprise is no longer there, so to say. Now, if somebody does, don't charge block them until near the end of the turning point, when you only have a few models left. Charge block that person with whichever model you choose. Then, with your commsmen, give that model a third APL. So they have now charge blocked somebody. Maybe they've already shot somebody if you wanted to. Whatever. They've charge blocked somebody, and now you've given them a third APL. This is where the risk comes in, and this is where you mitigate that risk. You're going to use, at the end of this turning point, the firefight ploy, Seize the Initiative. Remember, Seize the Initiative allows you to change your dice, or re-roll your dice, or force your opponent to re-roll theirs. Very powerful ploy, but it has to be done before the strategy phase of the next turning point. It's a firefight ploy, so it has to be done during the firefight phase. You're going to pop that because turning point 2 initiative is going to be really important for you. Even if you lose initiative, there's still a decent chance that your enemy is not going to immediately activate the model you're fighting, right? But you want to mitigate the chances of failure on this as much as you can. So you're going to use the firefight ploy, Seize the Initiative. If you want to mitigate this even further, like the failure rate of this, you could charge block a second model with another group. If you're going to do that though, just keep in mind that this now changes into a 4 operative strategy, right? Because even if you do it with 1, it's still a 2 operative strategy. You have to charge block somebody, and then you have to make sure somebody is within 6 inches of that person. Not too hard to do, right? You have a dash and a movement for all of your models, which is a 9-inch movement range, and it's a 6. You have to be within 6 inches. You can easily do this. However, you're not going to do it with 4 models if you want to charge block 2 people just to ensure this happens. But you can do that, and if you can do that, I suggest to do it because using this is kind of really powerful depending on which models you're putting up to play. For example, if you pull this off with a Melta gunner and a plasma gunner, just think about that for a second. You get to shoot twice in the one activation, the first activation of the next turn, with a Melta gunner and a plasma gunner in the same activation. And your Melta gunner is still gonna go. I mean, that's just, it's powerful. It's real powerful. Whatever you decide to do, just make sure that whoever is charge blocking has a third APL by the end of the first turning point. At the start of the next turning point, do whatever else you gotta do whatever strategies you're gonna do. But once you have initiative, because we're gonna assume you do have it, you're going to use cover retreat on your charge blocking model. They're going to move to wherever they want to. Remember, fallback is just a normal reposition action, except it takes 2, and it allows you to leave the engagement range of whoever you're fighting. Use cover retreat, and with that second model, take your free shot. Now, this free shot can be on anybody. If you want to kill the model that you were charge blocking, go ahead and kill them. If you have somebody else in mind, go ahead and kill them too. Whatever you want to do, you have a free shoot action. And because you have a third APL, you now have another shoot action. Except, just think about this now. You have somebody that is in the mid board, has a reposition action that they can go through at the midpoint of the board. You can move anywhere. You essentially can flank anybody here, right? And pair this up with every single one of the Kasrkin stacking up weapon rules abilities. You are now a super dangerous person, right? Again, if you're a plasma gun, you could potentially have accurate 1 as a special weapon rule with your foregrip. You could have severe if you choose that as the faction ability. Skill at arms, right? Light them up. If you choose that, which you should be choosing that, right? And then you could have balanced. You could have balance using clearance sweeps, right? Whatever. You have such a wide range of things you could do. And you now have 6 inches to move anywhere, and you can shoot somebody, right? This is like a guaranteed to me, right? Especially if you use it with your gunners. A guaranteed double kill, right? You have your plasma kill some whatever target. It's the target turning point. So everybody's a ready operative. Severe will always apply to everybody if you choose light them up. You have if you do it with your second gunner being a melted gunner, the guy you're shooting at, they're gone, right? They're erased. Piercing 2, weapon with devastating 4, again with severe, which already gives you the auto crits. I mean, it's just a ridiculous. The gunners are just ridiculous in the Kasrkin now. So yeah. And not only that, if this is against an elite team, you could potentially kill 1 model and then heavily damage another one with the plasma gun. That's awesome. Let's assume you've done all the previous steps. How do you maximize this in Turning Point 2? Number 1, you're going to use Clearance Sweep. Clearance Sweep allows you to place a marker anywhere in the kill zone. If you are within 5 inches of that marker and the target that you are shooting at is 5 inches within that marker, you get the balanced special weapon rule. Very nice. Awesome. Do it. Also, make sure that the faction ability skill at arms that you are using is light 'em up, which makes sure that if you automatically retain, if you retain a hit, a normal hit, it is automatically upgraded to a critical hit. So long as the enemy operative is in the ready state, which means they haven't gone yet. Which, since it's the beginning of the first turning point, is every model on your opponent's team. And lastly, make sure you have foregrip, which gives you the accurate 1 special rule, so long as you're within 3 inches of an enemy model. Now, with that second model that's going to be performing the free shoot action, this might be hard, but with the model that's performing, the charge action, that has performed the charge action, that's actually moving this turn, it's probably going to be easier to do that, right? So you go up to somebody, you get right up in their face and you shoot them in the face, you get accurate 1. If they're the melted gunner, that's devastating 4, which means that they automatically take 4 damage. I mean, it's just, it's also crazy. It's also good. Just do it. Just get it done. Again, I don't feel I really need to justify why this is such a good little strategy for you to do, but it's really up to you to decide. If you try this, please let me know. I want to know how this works out for you. I know I'm going to try it as soon as I can play a game in the new edition. I still haven't played. I'm going to just be totally upfront about that. I still haven't played a game. Hopefully I can get one in this week, maybe next week. I'm not sure. But I'm definitely trying this one. Let me know if you have tried it. That's the end of the video. I think I'm going to come out with an addendums for this. I may or may not. I'm not sure. There's a few things that are running around in my mind, but I'm not sure. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys later.